Hey, it's Aaron, and today I'm with a 2023 Ford Expedition in the Timberline package. Timberline, I believe, is new this year. Expedition itself is basically an F-150 as an SUV. So you have pretty much the same power plants, you have the same dashboard and interior up front, but you add another row of seating for 3 rows and a lot of cargo space, etc., etc. It is a big, beefy SUV. Has a lot of towing. That's a big deal with this. That's the reason you buy a body-on-frame SUV like this, is probably because you need the towing. It also has an adult usable third row, which is pretty rare in the smaller crossover style SUVs, but is the norm in an SUV like this most of the time. There have been a couple, if you've been watching the channel, that they really fail on that third row. Anyway, so what we're looking at right here, 3.5 liter turbocharged V6. You have 4-wheel drive on demand, so it is rear-wheel drive most of the time. Then you can put it into 4 automatic, which is sort of like all-wheel drive, meaning that it just kicks in that 4-wheel drive only when it needs it, so it feels some wheel slip or something, so it engages. Or you can put it in 4 high or 4 low. So it does have low range gearing for serious off-road. The Timberline package is aimed towards a more off-road crowd, an adventure crowd, but it's not a serious off-road package. So it doesn't add like to the wheel reach or anything like that, but it does add a little bit more protection underneath and some tow hooks. You can see some of that a little bit right here, and a few other things just to make it more kind of off-road appealing. So as far as the capability off the road, outside of these beefier tires that this package comes with, it really doesn't add much, but it's just enough to make it a realistic off-roader. We took it out in the country as a family, hauled all 5 of us in this thing, plus a bunch of our stuff because we were camping, and we did a little bit of off-road, and it was pretty good. This does a pretty good job of doing the normal off-road that most of us do most of the time. Now, if you're going to go to Moab and crawl on rocks, or if you're going to go do the things that require specialty equipment, this isn't your rig. You're going to have to modify it. But that's true pretty much across the board if you go to any SUV looking for off-roading. Most of the serious off-road packages are going to be on the smaller vehicles. So, we're talking like 4Runner from Toyota or something like that. You're going to be in that area. You're going to be in that smaller Jeep range of size. This is meant to haul people, haul stuff, tow things, and also do some pretty decent light and medium duty off-roading. All right, let's talk about design a little bit, because I don't think I've had an Expedition on the channel before, not that I recall. So let's talk about design. We'll go around the side, and then I'll go over the interior a little bit. All right, well, I have to have the camera pretty far back because this is a large SUV. So you can see a lot of F-150 in the styling. You're seeing it up here a little bit. The lights that you were looking at before are different. These are much slimmer in profile, but this is a lot of kind of F-150 and SUV packaged together. So with me in the picture, you can see how massive this thing is. This is a huge, huge vehicle. So you have the line here that dips like that, but it's in a curve, right? So that creates separate light shelves, like different bounces of light right there. And then you have the same thing that happens right in here. So you end up with that body line that goes all the way down, reflects light 2 or 3 times depending on where the sun is. So right now the sun's kind of low, so you're really only getting 2 reflections, but as the sun gets a little higher, you'll get multiples. Then you have the door coming down, so the bodywork comes down in a gentle curve like this, and then right here happening. So it's a interesting and kind of a cool design, really simple, but it gets the point across really, really well. The point of this vehicle in terms of design, the aim really seems to be ruggedness. They're aiming for power and muscle. So what you're really really looking at is lots of beefiness. Working roof racks up there, you can buy crossbars for that, so you can make that into a working roof rack from the dealership. Then you have this step right here, which is, if I recall, part of the Timberline package. If it's not, I'll add that on here. It could be an option. I'm pretty sure it's part of the Timberline package. Then you can see the Timberline badge, right? And then what you're looking at are these for tires. These are beefier. I'm really kind of rambling. Anyway, these tires are part of the Timberline package for sure. So you can see I got some dirt and mud on them. These are Goodyear Wranglers. They are what come with this as the off-road beef, and they are very, very good. It's a great choice. So for everyday driving combined with some off-road, that's a great option right there. Then you can see the tail lamp. That's where accentuation happens on the back end. So you see how large that tail lamp is. What's happening back there is this line's fading out right about here, and just a tiny hint of it is happening all the way up to the light. But the large tail light, what it's doing is it's accentuating the squareness and size of that rear end. Making this big while keeping this big makes everything look big. So that creates muscle on the back end without having to bulge out a fender, which would be the normal way you would do that. Up front, they did it by making sure you can visibly easily see this giant wheel gap, and just by using the sheer size of the vehicle. It sits really high, so the hood line is really high, but it slopes forward slightly, and then you have all of this happening to create this roll off and that just makes it beefier. Let's go look at the cargo space, the working end back there, and talk about the seating. So a couple things happening back here. First, it's very, very sheer. There's very little rake happening at all. It's almost all straight up and down. There's a slight bulge, but not very much. It's mostly up and down. Again, size. Also, that square creates huge amounts of cargo on the inside. Now, a couple of things. First, for you grocery getters and whatnots, look at that. That is awesomely useful because it means you can put your stuff in here and pull it back out. So key is pulling it back out. When we went on our road trip with this, we had a bunch of stuff stacked in here, and then closed this, opened this part, and piled the rest on top. And then when we unload, you only open this part, stuff doesn't come falling out, and you can just pull out things and arrange them, and then open the main hatch. The main hatch opens pretty tall, and it's very wide. You can see how much space there is here. So with the third row, not a whole ton of space, but pretty good. And you do have a little bit under here. Your spare tire is slung underneath, and then your tow kit is underneath this cover. You have D-hook tie downs all the way around. You have these things that you can't see it over there. What am I doing? Over here, you can see this. That's a grocery hook. So you can hang grocery bags off of it so stuff doesn't roll around. With the third row down, it's pretty flat, and you can go all the way up to there, which is a long ways, to load your stuff. There's D-hooks on the side right there, about 3/4 of the way up towards those seats. So you have lots of tie-down options, lots of cargo space in this. What we did is what you're looking at right now. So we had this seat up with a kid sitting back here. We had 2 kids sitting right there, and we had all of our stuff right here. And then on that seat that's folded down, first, that made it a little easier for her to get out of here, but also that allowed the kids up there to stack their stuff that they wanted for the road right there. So basically that folded down seat became our snack station so that all 3 kids could reach it from where they were sitting. And then all of our stuff was stacked in here. It's a great arrangement. We do it in our minivan a lot, and it worked really well in this. Now, potentially you can, in this, you can sit, 8? So you can get 3 across the back, 3 in the middle, and 2 in the front. You can see on that middle row that it is a 40-20-40, so you can fold down just the middle or whatever if you want to. Also, this has the release things, so when you push those, the seat tilts up and forward to make it easier to get in the back. But here's what I will tell you. This is a usable third row. It's not a fake third row or an afterthought third row Toyota or something like that. It is a usable third row. So up front here in the driver's seat, I forgot to point out back there are grab handles. Makes it pretty easy to step in and out. So sitting up here as the driver, I have 2 drink holders down in the door. I will point out that neither one of them will take a giant water bottle. Those are really made for like soda can and maybe the small single-use water bottles, but not much more than that. But you do have 2 giant ones right here, either of which will take a full-on water bottle if you want. You've also got this giant storage here, and then you've got this huge screen and nice layout. So number one complaint, this giant screen. I don't really like tablet-sized screens. Ford does a pretty good job, better than most. So there are things that you can do. It's a little easier to get to things. Some of it's more intuitive. The climate stuff appears across the bottom, that kind of thing. But screens to me mean, one, you're being distracted because there's a bunch of stuff going on over there. And 2, some things just take longer than they need to. Climate is the big example here. Changing climate requires at least 2 extra buttons, right? 2 extra clicks just because it's on a screen. So you have to open that climate menu and then do stuff, and then close the climate menu, or wait who knows how long for it to shut off on its own. But upside, Ford has the giant volume knob. The on-off button for that is right in the middle of it, so it's really easy. Then you have integrated trailer brakes, and then this particular one has the Pro trailer backing set up, so you use the camera and whatever, and you use a little dial to steer instead of the steering wheel. So for people who don't back up trailers very often, that makes you Pro level automatically just because it's easy. Few other things in this, but mostly what I'm trying to convey is that it is easy to use and nicely set up. Basically, like I said, this is an F-150. If you know what the interior of an F-150 looks like up front, then you know exactly what this looks like up front here. You got 2 glove boxes over there. You got what was that over here that I just saw? Oh, you can fold the back seats down. That's an extra button you won't find in an F-150. So you can push that. This also has the pedals, so you can move them out and suck them in, so that to adjust for the driver. And then that and other things are all remembered with the seat memories, which are on the door. So yeah, pretty great interior. I'm not going to get too detailed with it, but I think you've seen what it is. And also, by now I would have flashed you a couple of photos too, I think. All right, let's wrap this up. All right, I am done talking too much. This has been the 2023 Ford Expedition in the Timberline package. I'll throw up some numbers on the screen right here so you can see like the horsepower and the torque and the towing and all of that stuff. I always try to memorize that stuff, and then I end up doing it wrong and having to fix it anyway, so there's no point in adding that extra step. Other than that, this is a great vehicle. Drives really, really well. Pretty maneuverable for its size. Now, it's not great, right? Because it is big. There's no getting around it. But it is very maneuverable for the size that it is. So, well done on Ford's part all the way around on this vehicle. One of the better full-sized truck-based SUVs I've driven this year. So, very, very well done on that. I don't think I missed anything. So, I think that's it. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. This has been Aaron, 2023 Ford Expedition in the Timberline package. Talk to you again soon. Subscribe.